So look at the first question. Match the following scientists with their discoveries. Now never think that history of public health could never come in the exam. It could, but when it comes to INI-CET, it would be a match the type of question. So I'll just quickly revise with you. The first chapter that we're here revising is history of public health. Okay. So now whenever you get match the following type of question, all you have to do is look at the ones that you are aware of. Like I'm sure everybody knows, Edward Jenner is smallpox vaccination. James was a person who worked to show that scurvy can be prevented by taking citrus fruit, and of course Walter Reed is for yellow fever. So 1B, all right, 2C, 3A. This is an easy one. But now how are we going to revise what is important along with this MCQ? So we'll just have a quick look at some of the important people that you all know should come in your exams. Now as you can see, yeah, who's the first image? He's one of our very, very important fathers of epidemiology, father of modern epidemiology. This is John Snow. John Snow worked for cholera epidemic in London. And this one over here is Edward Jenner. Edward Jenner, yes, John Snow. Very good, Manoj. This is Edward Jenner. He discovered the first vaccine, the smallpox vaccine. This one is Robert Koch, who gave the Koch postulates. This one over here again is an important person, who is none other than Louis Pasteur. Now Louis Pasteur is important because he coined the term. Slide, you will see all the important discoveries that these people have done. He is the one who worked for scurvy, James Lind. This one over here, now don't get confused between these two people. The first person over here is Walter Reed, who showed that yellow fever is transmitted by Aedes, and this is Ronald Ross, who showed that malaria is transmitted by Anopheles. Okay, so just a quick look at these images, and I have also provided important important slide where I have noted down all the important contributions that you should know. Do this for your INI also, and do this for your NEET PG as well. It is extremely important. Are you all with me? Keep giving me thumbs up in between so that I know that you are listening as well as you are understanding the questions. All right. So John Snow, like I said, father of epidemiology, modern epidemiology. He also worked for the cholera epidemic in London, and his was an example of natural experiment. This one you can expect in INI-CET. We will discuss what is a natural experiment also today. Edward Jenner, smallpox vaccine, the first vaccine, and coined the term vaccination. Robert Koch, Koch postulates, also talked about anthrax, bacilli, vibrio cholera. Louis Pasteur, germ theory, coined the term vaccine, and he discovered anthrax as well as rabies vaccine. Anthrax as well as rabies vaccine. Okay. Another important slide, what did James Lind do? So we just studied use of citrus fruit to prevent scurvy. Walter Reed, yellow fever, Aedes. Ronald Ross, malaria and Anopheles. This was specifically asked in an AIMS paper. Who gave the definition of social pathology? Social pathology is the study of social factors leading to the occurrence of disease. That was given by Alfred Grotjem. So you should know this. Define public health. Now these are certain things you can expect in INI-CET. Something new, like who defined public health? Winslow. Don't write John Snow. Who gave the Great Sanitary Awakening in UK? That was Edwin Shadwell. And who's the founder of EPID? Fracastorius. Father is your John Snow. David Morley gave us the growth charts. Okay, so that's how we will be attempting the questions. We saw a question. Along with that, we practiced what are the important points related. Clear? Can we move to the next question, guys? So now I have a question from vaccines. Let's see. This is question number 2. A 10-week-old baby has come for vaccination. The baby has had a previous history of inconsolable crying and fever after vaccination at 6 weeks. What should be the next step now? What are you going to give? Don't give DPT. What are you going to mark? Okay, don't give DPT. Give DPT. Don't give DT. Defer for 1 month. So now here I just wanted to revise and update, guys. Earlier, inconsolable crying was an absolute contraindication. Even though it's written over here fever, it's nothing written like very high fever or something like that. Mild to moderate fever is never a contraindication for subsequent doses, right? So for inconsolable crying, it is no longer an absolute contraindication. No longer an absolute contraindication. And I'm sure you all know that this inconsolable crying is due to, from DPT, it is due to which component, guys? It is due to the pertussis component. It is due to the pertussis component. But now it is no longer an absolute contraindication. So when the baby comes to us again at 10 weeks, we can very easily administer DPT. You don't have to, not give DPT, or you don't have to remove DPT, pertussis. You can give DPT. And there is one other point I would like to tell you. DPT, guys, in case of delayed immunization, can be given up to how many weeks? This thing years, it can be given up to 7 years. Okay, it can be given up to 7 years. And you should also have another important point for our AIMS exam or INI-CET. You never need to restart vaccination. Vaccination हमेशा जहाँ से छोड़ते हैं वहीं से शुरू होती है. What do I mean by that? That never restart vaccination. Okay, never restart. You have to start from where you left earlier. Never restart vaccination. You should start from wherever left. Clear? Now with this question, you will just go through this PPT as well. Some of the important side effects or adverse effects of vaccines that I have mentioned, like BCG, suppurative lymphadenitis, osteitis, disseminated BCG infection. But over here, please remember, most common side effect of BCG vaccine. Most common side effect of BCG vaccine is ulcer. It forms a ulcer, not a scar. And this time in one of the exams, they also asked that a baby did not develop the scar. So now should we revaccinate the baby? No, never revaccinate the baby, even if the scar is not formed. Okay, that you should remember. Measles, you should know, toxic shock syndrome, thrombocytopenia. OPV, we all know, VAPP as well as CVD. PV is important. Tetanus, it leads to, shoulders are not moving or something, brachial neuritis. Rotavac, again, intersusception. This is like a 5-star question, comes in every exam. So any baby who has a history of abdominal surgery, never give rotavirus vaccine. Okay, any baby who has a history of abdominal surgery, that's one of the contraindications of screaming, crying, HHE, all these are adverse events. Okay, so just go through this chart, but what I wanted to stress was inconsolable crying is no longer an absolute contraindication, and you never need to restart vaccination. You should continue from where it was left. Okay. Now, is it okay? I need thumbs ups in between. Did you understand? Everybody got it? Okay. Any doubt and queries, guys, just keep noting it down. Please ask to me at the end. Now, let's move ahead. Did you answer this question? Expect formulas and numericals this time in your exams, guys. What is the answer that you got over here? Now, just tell me. You have to calculate incidence. Rule number 1. Whenever you get a numerical, don't panic. Darna nahi. Okay? What is rule number 2? Try to recollect the formula. Now, all of you know that we have taught you n number of times that when we have to talk about incidence क्या होता है, guys? Incidence होता है, incidence is equal to the total number of new cases. It's new cases that occur during a year, or that occur during a new cases during a specified time period. During a specified time period. So we have to specify a time period out of the total population at risk. Out of the total population at risk. Total population at risk. And also when you talk about incidence, guys, multiplier क्या होता है? What is the multiplier in incidence? Anybody? What is the multiplier in incidence, guys? So we all know that for incidence the multiplier is always 1000. ठीक है, numerator is part of a denominator and the multiplier is 1000. Yeah, yes, incidence is a rate because the multiplier is 1000. Whenever numerator is part of a denominator and the multiplier is 1000, 10,000, 1 lakh, it is a rate. But when numerator is a part of denominator and the multiplier is 100, it is a proportion. Okay, like prevalence. Prevalence is a proportion. There's the population of a village, 16,500. Since 1st of Jan, 22 new cases of TB were detected and total registered cases were 220. Now, please don't bother about the registered cases, because I don't have to consider the registered cases. I have to take registered cases would be included when I have to calculate prevalence, because prevalence is new plus existing cases. So here it was very, very simple. We just had to write 22. Okay, and you had to also see what is the total population, 16,500. 500 into, okay, 622 into 1000. So now can anybody tell me what was your answer over here? What was the answer that came over here? And whatever answer that you get over here, guys, see, that is calculated in terms of 16500. So that is coming out to be how much? 1.33 per thousand. But the answer is not given as 1.33 per thousand. Is it given as 1.33 per thousand? No, 1.33 per thousand to nahi hai na. It's not given that. Here it is per 1 lakh. So what we have to do, we just have to multiply it, okay, with another 100. So this comes out to be 133 per 1 lakh. Total registered cases are 220. 220 registered cases for what? That means they are already having TB. Prevalence is new plus old. Incidence is only the new cases. So you don't have to worry about these total registered cases. Usko calculate karna nahi. When you don't have to consider that when you're calculating incidence. However, when you're calculating prevalence, you have to include both new as well as existing cases. Okay, everyone, did you understand this? Did you understand this? Did you see, बच्चे, if you even do 1500 तो नहीं है, 16500 है, all right, total registered cases है, so we will just go through that and we can minus it. See, minus is, it's a very subjective term over here because the cases over here is very small, and what they have done is that 22 new cases were detected out of this population. Okay, this is registered, booked cases है, ठीक है, इस population से they have included 22 new cases. Got it, Sejal? Did you understand? Okay, let's just remember one thing, guys. Incidence क्या होता है? New cases. What is prevalence? New plus old cases. Now, what is the answer to this one? Very easy. You know why I gave you this question? You might think, ma'am, why has she given this question for INI-CET? Because INI-CET is very fond of asking, if you look at your PYQs, incubation periods, communicability periods, and isolation. Very good. Simple question है. 2 days before and 5 days after ASH. Now, ये तो आप कर लोगे. I have given you this because when you're going to study and revise, go through these slides. In this PDF, you have slides where you're going to talk about period of communicability. We are going to, so you can check out for your INI-CET exams, chickenpox, measles, rubella. This comes in your exams. It is an important one which gets asked in the exam. So you can go through this period of communicability once. Period of isolation, again, sometimes they ask chickenpox particularly. And remember, chickenpox ke crusts are not infected. So you can, are not infective. So you can just go through these slides. Measles, 7 days after ASH onset. Rubella, of course, we have discussed that as well. Influenza, mumps could come. And last, you can go through this incubation period slide. Sometimes they ask, you know, earlier they were asking a lot, but these slides are important because they can give you match the following from such type of questions. Clear? What did you answer for this? Biostats, INI-CET favorite. Question number 5. Which of the following is used to compare two data sets taken on two different scales of measurement? So whenever you have to compare two data sets, okay, I'm getting a lot of answers over here. C, B, R, D, okay, C. C क्या है? C is variance. Okay. So options are standard error of mean, standard error of deviation, variance, coefficient of variation. Now, any student in the class can tell me whatever options are given, are these measures of central tendency or are these measures of variation? What is your answer? These are all measures of variation or dispersion. What is it? So, all these guys are measures of dispersion. What is it? Measures of dispersion. Dispersion means spread of data or variation. Very good. Spread of data. There are a couple of things that we calculate. First, like you can see standard error of mean. Now, for standard error of mean, you get a formula, standard deviation upon square root of n. You should remember this formula. I hope you know it. Standard deviation, what is the formula, everybody? We are just revising formula first. Square root summation mu I minus mu whole square by n. But what was an AIMS question or INI-CET earlier, that if the sample size is less than 30, guys, what is the formula for standard deviation? So it is summation mu I minus mu whole square by n minus 1. This is your PYQ as well, n minus 1. Good. Now what is variance? Variance is nothing but standard deviation square. ठीक है. And what is coefficient of variation? Coefficient of variation is nothing but standard deviation upon mean into 100. So see, with one MCQ we've revised all the formulas also. Standard deviation by mean into 100. Now when we have to compare two data sets, we can take option C, a variance also, coefficient of variation also. But a better measure out of these, if they ask you which one are you going to use to compare two data sets, guys, your answer has to be coefficient of variation. Clear? What is your answer? Your answer has to be coefficient of variation. Confuse mat hona. See, variance ka formula is easy, standard deviation square. And what is coefficient of variation? Just keep standard deviation divided by mean into 100. Am I clear? Chalo. So let's go to the next MCQ. Any doubt? Just keep noting it down and ask me towards the end of the class as well. Question number 6. Family cycle, they are very fond of asking. So let's see what you answered with this. In fact, you know, family cycle is one of the favorite questions of all the exams. देखो हमारे 4 main exams हैं. INI, NEET, PG, FMG, UPSC. All 4 exams ask questions on family cycle. So what is the answer here? A couple with 3 children live in a small town. The first child of the couple travels abroad for his studies. The above family is in which phase? So now, remember, whenever you have you have different stages. So how do you identify each stage? You identify each stage by the first part of the phase. Okay, what I mean to say is, look at this. Now this is what? This is family cycle. Okay, this guys is family. अब family cycle में क्या लिखा हुआ है? What is written? Formation, marriage to birth of the first child, extension, birth of the first child to birth of the last child, complete extension, birth of the last child to first child leaves home, contraction, first child leaves home to last child leaves home. It's like a story, complete contraction. Last child leaves home to first spouse dies, and dissolution is first spouse dies to death. Now यहाँ पे first child of the couple travels abroad for his study. So we're talking about the first child leaving home. Now you can see that first child leaves home is mentioned here also in complete extension, and first child leaves home is mentioned here also in contraction. So how are you going to denote each phase? You're going to denote each phase by the first part. So over here, first child leaves home. Where are you going to see that? In contraction. Am I clear? So the answer over here is option C. Did you all mark C? What I'm trying to emphasize over here is, for any phase, the phase will be denoted by the first part of the phase. Clear? That's what you have. Got it? Chalo. Let's move to the question. So we are on question 7. Again, a woman missed 2 pills in the second week of her contraceptive pack. She had unprotected sex yesterday. What should she do? Discard the pack and start a new one immediately. Take 2 pills at the scheduled time. Skip the missed pill and continue with the next pack. Use emergency contraception immediately. How you could be confused in this? I have just added a line, unprotected sex yesterday. So don't get confused over here that, okay, she's had, so now I need to advise her to take an emergency contraception. No, because she has only missed 2 pills. So if a woman misses 1 or 2 pills, nothing to worry. So what we should do is, let's read this one first. Okay, what is written over here? Missing 1 to 2 pills. If we miss 1 to 2 pills, if a woman misses 1 to 2 pills, take 1 pill as soon as possible or take 2 pills at the scheduled time. No risk of pregnancy. Even if she's having unprotected sexual intercourse, up to 2 pills, there is no problem at all. She can take the 2 pills at the scheduled time, or she can take 1 pill as soon as possible and continue with her scheduled pills. The problem arises when she misses more than equal to 3 pills, either in the first or second week. You all know there are 21 OCPs and there are 7 iron tablets, and the OCP should be started on the first day of menses, guys, not on the 5th day. On the first day of menses, continue it for 21 days, and then last 7 days, a woman is supposed to take iron tablets. Ferrous fumarate, not sulfate. Again, ferrous fumarate. Okay. So she has to take ferrous fumarate. So now, if she misses more than 3 pills or 3 pills in the first or second week, or she misses in the third week. Number one, what she has to do. You will never tell her that, okay, you've missed 3 pills, 4 pills, now consume 3 pills or consume 4 pills. Never. That is not advised. What she has to do is take 1 pill as soon as possible. She's going to take 1 pill as soon as possible and continue with the scheduled pill. Okay. She will use barrier method for the next 7 days, and in case she's had unprotected sexual intercourse in the last 72 hours, she'll have emergency contraception. Okay? But if she misses in the third week, what is the difference that we are going to do over here? She will take 1 pill as soon as possible. She's going to finish rest of the hormonal pills. But what is the important thing or the different thing that is being done here? Last 7 non-hormonal pills have to be discarded. That she's not going to do. Take, and she's going to, when she finishes all her hormonal pills, she's not going to take the iron pills. She'll discard those and she'll start a new pack the very next day. And of course, use a barrier method for the next 7 days. And in case she has an unprotected sexual intercourse in the last 72 hours, she has to use an emergency contraception. Clear? So here, don't get confused by this line because it was 2 pills. She can take the 2 pills at the scheduled time. Samajh aaya? Everybody need a thumbs up again. I hope you will be able to answer this week wise also. They have never asked missed a pill in the second week or third week or fourth week, but next time or this time when your exam is too near, they might ask you. Okay, missed pill is an important topic, guys. You should know that. Acha, since we're talking about missed pill, one question from pills. Okay. Can anyone tell me, according to the MTP Act 2021, in case of contraception failure, MTP is allowed up to how many weeks? In case of contraception failure, this comes in number of times, guys. In case of and particularly they will say contraceptive failure. So MTP is allowed up to, great. MTP is allowed up to 20 weeks. Very good. Don't go 24 weeks. Is MTP allowed beyond 24 weeks? It is allowed beyond 24 weeks only when it's endangering the life of the woman or the child has been detected by some serious congenital anomalies. And after 24 weeks, it's not just the opinion of 2 doctors, but it's the opinion of the medical review board. Up to 20 weeks, only 1 doctor. 20 to 24 weeks, 2 doctors. But after 24 weeks is the medical review board. Usko pad lena. MTP Act, you should also read from your forensic, guys. It's an important. Okay, she has to start with the next pack, the very next. Then it gets normalized on its own. Okay? Chalo, what is your answer over here? Now, rabies, as we expect, couple of diseases, guys. Rabies, I mean dog bite management, tetanus, STD, diarrhea, pneumonia. Out of these 5s, we are going to revise all, but out of these 5s, in INI, expect 2. Pakka se. Okay? So, what's the answer over here? B, A. So, over here, all you needed to remember was a 5-year-old boy had received a full course of rabies vaccine in December 2018. In November 29, his fully vaccinated pet dog bit him on the toe. Now, this is a serious problem also, causing bleeding. Whenever there is bleeding, is it category, which category it is, guys? Is it 1, 2 or 3? So 1 may, there is no bite, no nothing at all. In category 2, it is minor scratches but no bleeding. But when there is bleeding, it is always category 3. And in category 3, of course, we have to do wound management. Wound management means clean the wound for 15 to 20 weeks. Soap, running water, spirit, that's okay. Give rabies vaccine, give rabies vaccine, and of course we have to also give human rabies immunoglobulin. But यहाँ पे it was not a post-exposure prophylaxis. He was already bit in 2018 when he received a full course. Now he's been bit again. So this is a case of, guys, re-exposure. This is a case of re-exposure. And how have I taught you in the lectures also? Look at this word re. Re has how many letters, guys? The re has 2 letters. So when 2 letters means 2 doses. 2 doses. 2 doses means which doses, guys? Day 0 and 3. 2 doses of vaccine on day 0 and 3. And you should always look over here that when in re-exposure also, let me take you to the next page and tell you something. In re-exposure cases also, guys, you have to know that is it within 3 months or is it beyond 3 months? Okay, is it like within 3 months? Is it like within 3 months or is it like beyond 3 months? So if it is like within 3 months, only wound management, just wash the wound and nothing else. But if it is beyond 3 months, then what we have to do, we just have to give 2 doses of rabies vaccine, that too day 0 and day 3. You can give it ID, you can give it IM, that doesn't make a difference over here, intradermal or intramuscular. Okay, that 3 months, and it is for lifelong. Also, I didn't give immunoglobulin here because immunoglobulin once given, you don't need to give it again and again to a person. Okay? And one more thing, under the National Rabies Control Program, guys, under the National Rabies Control Program, which regimen is preferred by the program? So I hope you all know, in case of post-exposure prophylaxis, the National Rabies Control Program prefers updated Thai Red Cross regimen. Updated Thai Red Cross regimen. Now, how have we learned this? Thai, I say India. So, in India, we are preferring this one, and D means intradermal. And if you see Thai has how many letters? Thai has 4 letters. Okay? So, 4 letters, that means 4 visits. Okay, 4 letters, that means 4 visits. 4 visits. So, when can we give this? Day 0, 3, 28 days. If it was SN regimen, N को बना लो, IM day 0, 3, 7, 14 and 28 days. Clear? So, we prefer this one. So, don't get confused in rabies ka question. It can't come in your exam. Let's move to the next one, guys. What is the answer to this? INI-CET is again fond of giving logos. So, I think I am going to revise the logos once with you. What is this? MA program. MA program kaun sa program hai? Mother's Absolute Affection. It's the breastfeeding program. Okay. Lakshya Labor Room Quality Improvement Initiative hai. ठीक है, and प्रधानमंत्री मातृ वंदना योजना is that on 9th of every month free ANC services are offered to pregnant women. And this one over here is the logo of JSSK, Janani Sishu Suraksha Karikram. ठीक है. Now, what was Janani Sishu Suraksha Karikram? Janani Sishu Suraksha Karikram में क्या था? We'll just quickly read about it. All the services are offered free, guys. ठीक है? The buzzword for JSSK is free services. The buzzword is free services. As well as everybody, the services were offered to the infants as well. Infants were also free delivery, free diet, free blood, free transport. All the services were absolutely free. And in the PDF, I am also going to give you certain slides so you can have a look at this, which is this program. Revise the logo with me. Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matritva Abhiyan. On the 9th of every month, free antenatal services are being provided to pregnant women, and we are going to identify the high risk pregnancies. This is the logo of, I am sure you all remember, this is the logo of This is Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana, in which cash installment of rupees 5,000 is given to pregnant women who are 19 years and above, only for the first live birth. Clear? Only for the first live birth. And this is now given in 2 installments. Just revising with you the next. And this is the latest one logo, Suman. Surakshit Matritva Ashwasan. What do we do in Suman? Grievance redressal, quality services, Suman Charter. Okay? So we are trying to, and we've also included pregnant women up to 6 months post-delivery. Pregnant women up to 6 months post-delivery. Prior to this, there was no such program which included pregnant women, up to 6 months. Every would include up to 6 weeks post-delivery. But now we've included pregnant women up to 6 months post-delivery. But I hope you got this. Okay, chalo. Moving ahead, let's go to next question for the day, question number 10. This is one of the most repeated INI-CET questions, guys. A new drug has been introduced into the market which is found to decrease mortality, but it does not cure the disease. Which among the following is a true statement regarding prevalence and incidence? So now again, what is the relation of P and I, guys? So P होता है, P is equal to grade, prevalence is equal to incidence into D. Now what is D, everybody? D is the duration, alright? D is the duration. So that means if D increases, duration of disease, how long a person is living with that disease. So if D increases, automatically P increases. If incidence increases, if new cases increases and keeps on adding to the old cases, P increases. Now it was written that a new drug has been introduced into the market which is found to decrease mortality. It's decreasing the rate of people dying, but it is not curing the disease. Since it's not curing the disease, people will live longer with the disease, right? People will live longer with the disease. People will live longer with the disease. It's not curing. So what happens? Person ठीक नहीं हो रहा, वो काफी समय उस disease के साथ जिएगा. What I meant was the person is not getting cured, but he's going to live longer with that disease. So what happens, everybody? D increases. Now when D increases, guys, automatically P increases. And what happens to the incidence? Now you all know incidents are new cases, and new cases depend on risk factors. Okay, new drug is not going to cater to the risk factors. So what is going to happen to incidence? The incidence remains same. Incidence remains same. So what happens over here? The answer is option D, increase in prevalence. When will incidence get affected? Incidence gets affected like, let's say, vaccination. Okay. Now when we vaccination of a 9-month-old. So we vaccinate a 9-month-old baby with measles vaccine. Why do you vaccinate at 9 months with measles vaccine? Is the baby suffering from measles? No. The baby is at risk of measles. Why? Because all the antibody from the mother has disappeared. So now we are giving the baby measles vaccine so that the baby doesn't go on to develop measles. So vaccination will decrease the incidence. Did you get it? Vaccination will decrease the incidence. Okay? And suppose there's a drug which cures a person. Suppose, answer this one, drug cures a person. So what is going to happen to the prevalence, guys? If somebody is getting cured, वो ठीक हो जा रहा है, ठीक है? So now what is going to happen to D? Again remember, P is equal to I into D. So if I am getting cured, this D will decrease, automatically P will decrease. Again, incidence will remain the same. ठीक है? Incidence or the rate of new cases will get affected only when we cater to the risk factors. ठीक है? Drugs are not acting on the risk factors. Clear? Chalo. Moving to question number 11 for the day. Which of the following is false regarding recommended drinking water quality? In the current NEET PG exam, they have again asked about drinking water quality. NEET PG or FMG, one of the exams they did ask, so we need to revise one. And earlier it was a favorite of INI-CET as well. So what is the answer? Why am I not getting any answer here? Come on guys, what will you mark? Lead up to 0.01 milligram per liter, color up to 15 true color units, potable water ideally should have 0 coliform per 1000 ml of water, nitrate less than 50. Okay, so I got C also, I got B also, great guys, I got D also. Bache, dekho, I asked which is false, that means the incorrect statement. Now you know lead. Lead is one other MCQ I'm giving over here. Most undesirable metal in water. Most undesirable metal in water. Most undesirable metal in water, everybody, is lead. And lead to some amount will be there because we have lead pipes as well. So it is up to 0.01. That's okay. Even arsenic follows the same amount. Okay. Color, ideally, water is colorless, which we can measure in terms of true color unit. So up to 15 true color unit is allowed, or a new unit is up to 5 Hazen unit. This is okay. Nitrate less than 50, that's okay. That's okay. All right. If we have nitrates in water, it indicates remote contamination of water. Remote contamination of water. अगर पानी में nitrates है, it indicates remote contamination of water. If the water has nitrites, guys, it indicates recent contamination of water. Recent contamination of water. And you know what happens? Nitrates and nitrites, blood may they get mixed and lead to methemoglobinemia. Nitrite is up to 3 milligram per liter. ठीक है. What was the false statement over here? Potable water. Potable water should have 0 coliforms, not per 1000 ml, per 100 ml of water. Clear? What is potable water? That's a separate MCQ also. Potable water has 0 coliforms per 100 ml of water. ठीक है. And how much hardness of water is allowed, guys? In case somebody asks you that what is the level of hardness of water that we should allow, so I'm writing it here. Hardness of water that can be allowed is like 150 to 300 milligram per liter. And when is softening of water recommended? Softening of water is recommended at 150 milligram per liter. pH of 6.5 to 8.5. But remember, chlorine acts best at pH 7. Okay, that again was asked in INI-CET earlier AIMS exam when we had separate aims. Chlorine acts best at pH 7. And what about the TDS of water, guys? Total dissolved solid up to 600. Up to 600. But max that we can go for TDS is up to 1000 milligram per liter. You should know these values. Sometimes they can ask you in the exams. Okay, let's move to the next question for the day. Yeah, what is the answer to this? A study follows 30,000 women for 10 years. Selecting some who develop cancers and others as controls. Now see, it is a beautiful question. पहले क्या हो रहा है? We are following someone. We are following a group of people for 10 years. So whenever you follow, you know when like follows is a buzzword for cohort, right? Follows is a buzzword for cohort. So you're first following people and then those who develop disease. From that, you pick cases and controls. So you started with a population of 10,000 women. 30,000 women. You follow them up for 10 years. So when you see this word follow them for 10 years, you should immediately, it should strike you, oh, this is a cohort. But then look at the next line, that from them I am selecting some who develop cases, cancer. So those who develop cancer, they become the cases and the other become the controls. So now what has happened, guys? There is a smaller case control which has been initiated in a bigger cohort. It is not a retrospective cohort. No. I think Swapan got it correct. Rito Chetta got it. Yes, Rito got it correct. It is nothing but a nested case control. And for our AIMS paper, INI-CET, we should expect nested case control. See, it was very simple. We followed a group of people for 10 years, and then from that, some developed cancer. Like, look over here. We started with a group of people, 30,000, let's say, ANC females, let's say. What do we do over here? For this cohort, what do? We collect their data. We took their blood cell investigations, urine investigations. We collected all of that and we kept it. Okay. Then what happened? We start following them over the years. Now, when we start following them over the years, some are going to develop a disease. So, when they develop a disease, they are the cases, and those who do not develop the disease, they are the controls. So now let's say 10 develop the disease, they are the cases, 90 do not develop, they are the controls. So look at this rectangle. Now this has become what? A smaller case control study design has been initiated everybody in a bigger cohort, in this bigger cohort. Meaning now we're going to go back and we're going to analyze the details of only the people who develop the disease 10-15 years later. So we will analyze details of only the cases. Okay, now people who are developing the disease after say 50, 60 years, particularly used in stem cell research. Now, this could be because of something rare. So, nested case control is important for rare investigations. And another question, what is the nature of a nested case control? It is actually prospective in nature. Am I clear? Nested case control, everybody, is actually prospective. Kyunki what are we doing? We took a group of people and we've collected their data. It's just that we don't analyze it. We collect the data, we save the data, we follow them over years and wait for people to develop disease. From that group, those who develop the disease are the cases, those who don't develop are the controls. This is a smaller case control in a bigger cohort. So it is, if anybody asks you, number one, first MCQ, nested case control. What is the meaning of nested case control? Smaller case control in a bigger cohort. Third, what is the actual design of a nested case control? It is actually a follow-up study. It is actually a prospective study. If it is a follow-up study, it can establish temporality also. Okay, and good thing is it is useful for rare investigations. Clear, everybody? Now see. Now, since I mentioned this one rare investigation, can anyone tell me for rare diseases, which is the best study design? Rare diseases, is it case control? Is it cohort? Is it something else? Rare diseases, which study design would be your choice? Case control or cohort? Rare diseases, case control. Why should I wait for years and years for a rare disease to develop? Let me pick up people who already have the disease and compare them to those who do not have the disease. So when I talk about rare diseases, guys, it is definitely a case control. And when I talk about rare exposures, whenever I talk about rare exposures, occupational exposures are rare exposures. So what is the best study design over here? A cohort. People who are working in mining industry, compare them with those who are don't working in mining industry and then follow them over years for cancer to develop. Let's go to the next question. What is your answer? What is the correct sequence of steps in experimental study? That means in randomized controlled trials. What is the correct step? The first thing that we're going to do is, of course, define inclusion exclusion. Of course. Okay, or let me take you to the steps. See, this is steps of RCT. First, you'll draw a protocol. What you're exactly planning. You're going to select reference and experimental. In protocol only, you define your inclusion and exclusion criteria. Okay, define your inclusion exclusion criteria. Then you're going to select a reference group experimental. Reference group are those who are going to get a placebo. Experimental population are those who are going to get new drug. Okay, you'll randomize them, you'll make them pick a chit. Now, when you're making them pick a chit, this is when blinding is happening. So, blinding is not the first step. Over here, only manipulation or intervention, only here blinding is being done. And then, of course, we'll follow up and do an assessment of the outcome. So, what is the correct steps over here? You will first define inclusion, exclusion, then you will have randomization, then you will have blinding, of course, you will have statistical analysis. Okay, blinding is happening. See, when we make them pick chits, that's what blinding is also happening. Randomization kya karta hai? It eliminates selection bias, all right, and by ensuring comparability, and it also eliminates known as well as unknown confounders. Okay, we select the populations. They don't write blinding as a separate step in the steps of RCT, guys. You'll never see that blinding is written as a separate step. But when I talk about randomization, what is the meaning of random in randomization? It means every participant gets an equal and known chance. Equal and known chance. How is he getting an equal and known chance? By blinding, by making them pick chits. Alright, and this eliminates what is known as selection bias. Can I move ahead? Also, since this was an actually PYQ only, steps of RCT. So, I have put a slide over here where you can definitely go through the steps of a case control and a cohort. Steps of a case control, buzzword. matching. Whenever कोई भी MCQ आए, any MCQ comes from EPID guys, and you see the buzzword matching. Okay, if you see the word matching, that is a buzzword, the answer is case control. We have to match cases and controls. If my cases are from upper class, my controls will also be from upper class. Okay, if my cases are elderly, my controls will also be elderly. And matching eliminates only the known confounders. Matching eliminates only which confounders? Only the known confounders. And how are we going to do the analysis in a case control study design? So in a case control study design, we calculate what is known as odds ratio. Okay? For a cohort, look at the buzzword guys, follow up. Whenever you see the word follow up, it is a cohort study. Analysis in terms of relative risk, attributable risk, population attributable risk. We will discuss these things as well. Okay, can I go to the next question guys? Okay, let's have a look at question 14. Please read it and try to answer. The options are hidden, but kabhi bhi na, don't worry by the length of the question. Just wanted to discuss some basic facts over here. You don't have to worry about the length of the question. Just, some basic. You just have to look at these p-values. Now, what have we learned about p-values, guys? What have we learned about p-values? Which value of p means data is significant? What is that value of p which shows that data is significant? So, I'm sure everybody knows p less than 0.05 is significant. And this is what the question was asking, nothing else. Also, look at odds ratio. Now, you all know that odds ratio can take up three values. Hai na? Odds ratio could be more than 1, odds ratio could be equal to 1, odds ratio could be less than 1. Now, when my odds ratio is more than 1, guys, it is a positive association, or I could say a risk factor. When it is equal to 1, it means no association. And when it is less than 1, guys, it means protective, negative or protective. ठीक है, सबको पता है, I'm sure you know this. Now look at the first one, age, and here I've written certain statements. Look at the first statement. It says female population is at greater risk of developing blindness. So let's check the female population here. Female population, look at p value, less than 0.001. That means this data is significant. Definitely it is, it has a relation, it is significant. But look at the odds ratio value, 0.3. 0.3 का मतलब क्या होगा? 0.3 means it is less than 1. Less than 1 मतलब the female population is not at greater risk. Female population is protective. People who are females, it is a protective factor for not having blindness. Clear? So, it is not greater risk. It is a protective factor. Now, look at the statement 2. People dwelling in rural areas, everybody, are at increased risk of developing blindness. Now, let's see rural areas. Look at rural areas. P value was 0.1. Throw it out of the box. It is not even less than 0.005. It's 0.1. So, it clearly means rural thing has no relation, non-significant. Risk of developing blindness increases with age. So, now let us go and look at age. So, less than 50 years, it was less than 0.001. It is significant, and odds ratio is also more than 1. So, it is a risk factor. Then 50 to 59 years, again less than 0.001. So, it is significant and it is a risk factor. 1.2 is more than 1. Less than 0.001. So, here you can see up to 80 years, everywhere it is less than 0.001. That means it is significant, and everywhere the odds ratio is more than 1 only. So, the risk of developing blindness increases with age. Absolutely true. ठीक है? Illiteracy leads to an increased risk of developing blindness. Let's have a look at illiterate ka data. Now, if you look over here, less than 0.001. So, that means it is what, guys? That means it is significant. Again, this is more than 1. So, it is a risk factor. So, over here, what are the correct answers? 3 and 4. Did you understand, guys? Dekho. Never worry by the length of the question. It might always seem to you, oh my God, the question is so big. I'm definitely leaving this. Never do that. You know, the lengthier the question, the easier they are to solve. You just had to, this is a completely conceptual based question where you had to figure out p-value. If it is less than 0.05, it is significant. That's what we looked at. And then interpretation of odds value, odds ratio, or even if it was relative risk. If it is more than 1, then only a risk factor. If it is equal to 1, a protector. No association, less than 1, it is a protect. Good. Let's move to the next MCQ. Now, do you remember about meta-analysis? Meta-analysis means analysis of analysis. Okay, it's analysis of analysis. That means we have analyzed values already with us, the published articles, and we are going to use the meta-analysis software and give that one single value. Whether it is system, like in meta-analysis, what we do is, guys, we do an analysis of analysis. We do an analysis of analysis. That means we are going to review all the articles, collect the data from them, and then we are going to apply statistical analysis and give a single value. Okay. Now, whenever we are going to review articles, there can arise two problems. One is a apple and orange effect, and the other one is a file drawer effect. These are not the strengths, these are the disadvantages. Now, what do you mean by apple and orange effect? Remember, apple and orange. Now, see, when I'm including studies in my article, in my meta-analysis, I could be including studies that are not similar, that are heterogeneous. So, when I include studies or when I review articles that are heterogeneous, it leads to apple and orange effect. So, apple and orange effect means it is due to heterogeneity of studies. Heterogeneity of studies. What do I mean by heterogeneity of studies? That means they are different. Alright, they are not similar, they are dissimilar. So, it's a strength? No, it's not a strength, it's a disadvantage. It's a disadvantage. Alright, what is file drawer effect? File drawer effect is, now look at this slide. One second, I'll just explain to you. Look at this slide, guys. What is the name of this image? The name of this image, then I'm going to proceed. Exactly, this is a funnel plot. Now, what was a funnel plot doing, guys? A funnel plot, first of all, it is done for both systematic review and meta-analysis, okay? And a funnel plot, guys, this checks for what is known as publication bias. What does it check for? It checks for what is known as publication bias. So, a funnel plot checks for what is known as publication bias. Now, what is a publication bias over here? Publication bias means, when does it arise? When our articles are not of good quality. That means, see, there are certain articles that are reporting only the positive findings, okay? And only we have included them in our study, in our meta-analysis. There are certain articles that are reporting only negative findings. And when I was doing a systematic review or meta-analysis, I included only those articles with negative findings. So, when we do that, it leads to publication bias, which again is giving a file drawer effect. Just in this image, what can you see? You can see the dots are scattered. So, these dots represent individual studies. Okay, when the dots are scattered like this, that means I have included studies with positive findings. Also, I have included studies with negative findings also. So, when I am including studies with positive findings also and negative findings also, guys, there is no publication bias. कोई publication bias नहीं है. That means there is no file drawer effect. Only important for INI-CET. I would not ask you to do it actually for NEET PG, but yes, नाम पता होना चाहिए that there is something known as file drawer effect and apple and orange effect. Okay, so this is file drawer effect. But suppose when in my study design, I include articles only with the positive findings, something like this, okay? Something, the image comes out to be something like this. I have included articles only with positive findings. The dots are clustered at one end. So, over here, file drawer effect is present. Publication bias is present. Here, bias present. Or if the dots were only scattered like this, I mean cluttered at one end on the negative side, file drawer effect is effect. whenever you do a systematic review or meta-analysis, you need to include articles that report positive findings also, negative findings also. Then only there is not going to be any publication bias. But if you include articles only with positive findings or only with negative findings, it leads to publication bias, which is the file drawer effect. Okay? So, let's go back. File drawer effect is seen in meta-analysis. Absolutely and absolutely true. Statistical power increases with larger sample size. Of course, that's what is happening in systematic review and meta-analysis. We have included like somebody, there's one person who says Ram murdered Shyam. Okay? But there are 100 of people who are now saying Ram murdered Shyam. So which is giving us more evidence? 100 people, definitely. That's what is happening in systematic review and meta-analysis. We are including more number of articles. Okay? Validity depends on quality. Of course, validity depends on quality. That means quality means no publication bias present. Clear? These two terms can come in your exams. You can get the image funnel plot ka interpretation. You can also get this. And where do you draw this image, guys? I mean, it is drawn for which type of study? Iska naam kya hai? This is a forest plot. And let me take 1 minute of your time and also explain to you the interpretation of forest plot. Okay, let me explain to you interpretation. Now, forest plot is only drawn for a meta-analysis. Okay, it's only and only drawn for a meta-analysis, nowhere else. Now, like I told you, in meta-analysis, we do an analysis of analysis. That means we include a lot of articles and whatever analyzed values are there, we will do one single analysis and give one single value. That single value is given by this rhombus or this diamond. Now, how do question comes from this image? They will give you this image and they will ask you, okay, tell me or identify the risk factors. What are the risk factors from this study design? How many risk factors can you identify in this particular forest plot? How many risk factors can you identify, guys? How will you do that? Again, you're supposed to look at the interval. You're supposed to look at the confidence interval. So, you look at the interval. Now, when you look at the interval, here you can see it is 0.5 to 2.6. Now, when I see 0.5 to 2.6, is 1 included? Definitely 1 is included. 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9. 1. So, 1 included. So, whenever 1 is included, guys, it is non-significant. Okay, it is non-significant. So, this is not identified as a risk factor. Look at this. 1 to 3.4. Again, 1 is included. So, this is not significant. Look at this. 0.9 to 3.2. Again, 1 is included. Yes, it is included. So, this is non-significant. Okay? But look at this interval, 1.9 to 2.7. Now, if you look at 1.9 to 2.7, is 1 included? No, 1 will come before 1.9. So, 1 is not included. So, this definitely is significant. Okay. And now, look at this value, 2.3. That means odds ratio. Here we are looking at OR, odds ratio. So, here this OR, everybody, this OR is more than 1. So, definitely the study is a risk factor. Okay? Look at this one, 1.8 to 2.5. Now, is 1 included? Definitely not, 1 is not included. So, this again, everyone is significant. Okay, is significant. Okay? This is significant, and also look at this value 2.1, which is more than 1. So, again, this is a risk factor. Clear? So, how many risk factors you have identified? 2 risk factors. And if somebody asks you, okay child, tell me what is the overall effect of the risk factors. So, if the question comes in your exam, they trick you this time and ask you overall effect of risk factors. If they ask you what is the overall effect of risk factors, what are you going to do? Then you all are going to look at this rhombus. What are you going to look at this, guys? Rhombus. Now, when you look at the rhombus, look at the value 1.9, say 2.4. Again, 1 is not included. So, this is definitely significant. Clear? Give me a thumbs up if all of you got this. Okay? So, now let me give you one value. Suppose in the exam, you got this as the value. I'm looking at an empty slide. Okay, suppose in the exam they gave you a value, let me write over here, they gave you a value 0.3, 0.2 to 0.9. Now, is this a risk factor? Is this a risk factor? Number one, is it significant? Is this value significant? Again, look at this. It does not include, does it include 1 or does it not include 1? 0.2 to 0.9. Again, it does not include 1. So, it is definitely significant. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And this one, guys, is less than 1. So, this is what, guys? This is definitely a protective factor. समझ गए? Very important for INI-CET. File drawer effect, apple orange effect, funnel plot interpretation, forest plot interpretation. ठीक है? Moving to the next question, an easy one out of the clock. Just wanted to discuss the function of ASHAs, guys. Accompany pregnant female to the hospital, definitely true. Help in completion of immunization, true. Spread awareness, true. Malaria slide preparation, absolutely wrong. Who is responsible for malaria slide preparation? It is multi-purpose worker male who is posted at a sub-center. Multi-purpose worker male, I think I have given a question also for that. So we will discuss his duties when we move to the next MCQ. Guys, over here, a couple of questions about ASHA worker. Number one, bhulna nahi, she's 10th pass. Nobody will say 8th pass. She has to be 10th pass, guys. Okay, she is what? She is definitely and definitely 10th pass. Okay, existing population norm for ASHA worker. Existing pop norm or population norm is we have 1 ASHA per 1000 population. Abhi bhi. But what have we proposed? What has the government proposed? The proposed norm is 2 per 1000. So if anybody asks you what is the existing norm, 1 per 1000. And who selects ASHA worker? She is selected by village panchayat. Okay, VP, village panchayat, not medical officer. It's under supervision of medical officer. ठीक है, under supervision of medical officer. But she is selected by a village panchayat. And what is her duration of training? 23 days is her training duration. She is being trained by ANM or Anganwadi worker. ठीक है, over a period of 1 year, this is a duration of training. Couple of like this thing. Also, tell me, can an ASHA worker give vaccines? Big no. No vaccine. Cannot give vaccines. Please remember, ASHA cannot administer. What is an ASHA worker doing? She's a mobilizer of the community. The buzzword is she's mobilizer. Mobilizer of community means she's going to bring the people to the health centers to get vaccinated and all. Okay, to get registered. She cannot give vaccines, cannot give vaccine, cannot conduct delivery. ठीक है, cannot conduct delivery. She will never conduct delivery. She carries a delivery, a disposable delivery kit with her, but she's not conducting deliveries. Clear? Anganwadi worker, please remember, Anganwadi worker can give vaccines, can give vaccines. Of course, she also doesn't do delivery, but Anganwadi worker can give vaccines. Clear? Chalo. Let's move to the next question for the day. Again, an important topic of food adulteration, important for all the exams. A 40-year-old female with no comorbidities presents with acute onset. Acute is the first buzzword. Swelling in both the legs. She also reports experiencing loose stools and her family members have similar symptoms. Upon examination, there were no signs of inflammation in either legs. That means what is happening? This is non-inflammatory edema. Okay, that's your buzzword. A detailed history revealed mustard oil is a staple part of their diet. Which is the staple part of the diet, guys? Mustard oil. So what is happening over here? Contamination of mustard oil with argemone oil leading to what is known as epidemic dropsy. Epidemic dropsy, and the toxin is in argemone mexicana, which is nothing but sanguinarine. Okay? So, look at this image. This is a PYQ INI-CET. They asked to identify this image. This is argemone mexicana flower. Argemone mexicana flower. What is it? This is argemone mexicana flower. This was asked in the exams. So, this is argemone mexicana flower. And if you look at this, this is the buzzword. There is edema, but there is no redness around it. So, this is non-inflammatory edema. This is non-inflammatory edema. Clear? Okay, and this one guys, this again was asked last NEET PG also, keeps coming on and off. 2 stick stage, 1 stick stage. These are some images also that we are discussing. You see it in neurolethyrism, which is consumption of kesari dal or Lathyrus sativus, which has a toxin called as BOA. This is the kesari dal. And to make your things comfortable and easier, go through these food adulteration ka slide guys. I have tried to put down all the points over here. Neurolethyrism, it's kesari dal that is getting which has the toxin BOA guys. Kesari dal was banned. Vitamin C would fight on the toxin, but it was banned. But then kesari dal is similar to arhar dal and also chana dal. So now what are people doing? They grow arhar dal, like they grow this kesari dal illegally and mix it with arhar dal or chana dal. Clear? And it is gradual onset of spastic paralysis, not flaccid paralysis. Here you're going to see which paralysis? Spastic paralysis. This one, epidemic dropsy, they ask this one. This is a 3-4 star question guys. How will a food officer check for the contamination? Please don't mark nitric acid. Nitric acid test is a very raw test. Okay, paper chromatography is most sensitive because it can check even very minimal amount of argemone oil contamination. ठीक है? Rest you can read. Also millets के साथ we are mixing crotalaria, झुनझुनिया seeds, groundnut, cereal and maize, storage fungus, aspergillus, which is resulting in aflatoxicosis, hepatocellular carcinoma. Keep the moisture content below 10%. And the one that came in NEET PG this time, field fungus, they said bajra gets infested with claviceps fusiformis, okay, resulting in ergotism. Do revise food adulteration and go for your exams. Okay? Let's go to question number 18. 5-year-old Ram and the 3-year-old Sham are Ramadevi's son. Sham developed a rash, but Ramadevi ignored it, assuming it to be an allergy. After 10 days, Ram also developed a rash along with a fever. Out of fear, Ramadevi took Ram to the PHC. The healthcare workers at PHC suspected it to be the measles. If it was NEET PG or FMG exams, they would have directly asked you the definition. This is what they will do in INI-CET. They can also ask in NEET PG, but here they're just trying to ask to you, do you know the definition of primary case? Do you know the definition of index case? Now, who is a primary case, guys? Who is a primary case? So, primary case is the first case of infectious origin which is introduced in the population. And what is the index case? Index case is the first case that comes to the notice of the investigator. Now, who developed measles over here first, or Sham developed a rash, but Ramadevi ignored him, and when Ram developed, then she came. So Ram came to the health center, came to the notice of an investigator. So Ram is an index case. He came to the notice of investigator. Sham is primary case, first case introduced. Okay. Now primary case might not necessarily be the index case. Remember that also. So this is the first case introduced. Ram definitely got infection from Sham. Now what about statement number 4? Ram could have received post-exposure prophylaxis if his mother had brought him to the hospital when Sham got the rash. Is it correct? Absolutely correct. Now, what is post-exposure prophylaxis? What could have been done to save Ram? How could we have saved Ram, guys, everybody? So, we can give him the vaccine within 3 days of exposure. Look over here. This is very high yield point slide, something that you can expect in INI-CET. Susceptible contacts over age 9 to 12 months may be protected against measles with measles vaccine, provided it is given within 3 days of exposure. Because why? The natural incubation period of measles is 10 to 14 days, but the seroconversion rate is within 7 to 10 days. Like once we give the vaccine, antibodies form within 7 to 10 days. So if he was brought within 3 days of exposure, he could have been saved. Also, measles can be prevented if we don't have the vaccines. We could give the immunoglobulin early in the incubation period, dose 0.25 ml within 3 to 4 days exposure. person passively immunized, if suppose the vaccine was, obviously this is the first choice, give the vaccine, that is the first choice, but if it is not available, we give the vaccine, we give the immunoglobulin. But if you give the immunoglobulin, then the vaccine has to be given 8 to 12 weeks later. This is also a MCQ. Did you all understand this concept? And this slide could come as a separate MCQ. They will design, because they are fond of asking measles, somehow or the other they come up with measles, and that's how they can give you the question. ठीक है, चलो, moving to question 19. Chemoprophylaxis of leprosy should be given to all contacts except. What is the answer to this? Leprosy, again a favorite topic of exams, one of the favorite national health programs that keeps coming. Household contacts living with a leprosy patient for more than 6 months, social contact of 20 hours per week for 3 months, age more than 1 year. You will only give if the age is more than 2 years. You don't have to give it more than 1 year. So look over here. Prophylaxis, okay, that's also a good way, but it's a protocol. See, prophylaxis is given to close household contacts more than 2 years old who have close social contact, and contact time you should know at least more than 20 hours per week. Neighbors also should get who are within a 7500 meter radius, that means 3 houses this side, 3 houses this side, contraindicated in pregnancy, and this is rifampicin. You should go through the dose once. Your pharma teacher would be a better guide that whether you should remember the doses or not, but you know certain things like this you should know the dose. According to me, you definitely should know. And this is the logo of National Leprosy Eradication Program. Okay, it is National Leprosy Eradication Program. National Leprosy Eradication Program, one of the most important programs. So I'm going to do one more question for the leprosy, because the guideline has, so did I mark the answer there? Yeah. So now there is an update which has come in the classification of leprosy, guys, types of leprosy. What did you mark for this one? What are the necessary criteria that need to be fulfilled in order to initiate multi-drug therapy? What are the necessary criteria that need to be fulfilled in order to initiate MDT, guys? सबसे पहले, guys, there's an update. I hope you remember the update. What is the update that has come for leprosy? Let me just discuss it. So you all know, for the program wise, we're not going into tuberculoid, lepromatosis, leprosy. No, nobody asks actually those questions. But according to the program, we have PBL, paucibacillary leprosy, MBL, multibacillary leprosy. Now, how is the classification being done? Okay, how are the classification being done, guys? Paucibacillary leprosy. No, Aditya, I think bache, for malaria we follow the same things, no? Like we will discuss malaria, it will come. Let's say prophylaxis of leprosy that we did, Aditya, we definitely say rifampicin. For drugs, for leprosy drugs, it is the same 3 drugs. For PSM, we always look at what is being given under our program, guys. We don't go by what is being, given worldwide. We always focus on like TB. You know that drug sensitive TB in India, we still follow the basic protocol. Okay, 2-HRZE and 4-HRE. However, according to CDC, that has changed, but we are not going for that. In the program, we are still following that. Okay, so I don't think there's major change, bache, but if any time you see a question which is pertaining to the program, you will have to mark according to the program. Okay, rest, of course, if you have any doubt, you can definitely and should discuss with your pharma teacher as well. But I think majorly we say the same drugs only. Okay, I think TB, there is one difference now. But if you ask me, for the program, we are still following the same protocol for drug sensitive. Good that you asked. Great. Okay, now there are 2 types of leprosy, PBL and MBL. So we do it on the basis of skin lesions. We do it on the basis of nerve involvement. We do it on the basis of nerve involvement, and we also do it on the basis of skin smear examination. Okay? So skin smear examination. These are the 3 ways. Now what is it? In paucibacillary, you have how many lesions? 1 to 5 skin lesions. In multibacillary, more than 5 lesions. Okay? Nerve involvement, paucibacillary, no nerve. Multibacillary, more than equal to 1 nerve. Slit skin smear biopsy, negative at all sites. Negative at all sites. Okay? And PBL, positive at 1 or more sites. positive at one or more sites. Okay, positive at one or more sites. And you all know now the drugs for possibacillary is 3-drug regimen. Multibacillary also it is 3-drug. Definitely you should go through the doses from pharma. But yeah, what are the drugs? Dapsone, rifampicin, clofazimine. Dapsone, rifampicin, clofazimine. And I hope you remember rifampicin is only given as monthly supervised dose. Okay, so this 3-drug regimen hai, you should know that. Follow-up duration for possibacillary. Okay, duration of treatment. Duration of treatment could be asked in your exams. For possibacillary, everybody, it is 6 to 9 months. It should be completed by 9 months, and this is 12 to 18 months. Okay? Will you remember that? Not 6 to 12 months, but 6 to 9 months, Akash. So you can also be given a conceptual MCQ where you will have to identify, is it a possibacillary leprosy case or is it a multibacillary leprosy case? Okay? Now, is question ko dekho. Hypopigmented patch with sensory loss. Exactly. Okay, this is correct. Hypoanesthetic patches, these are characteristic finding. Derma, check out the lesions, they show you the lesions. Hypoanesthetic patches. Now, peripheral nerve thickening is not just enough. Peripheral nerve thickening with sensory loss, that is important. Skin biopsy demonstrating bacilli. So yes, what are the necessary criteria? We can also have skin biopsy demonstrating bacilli. So what is the answer that you have written, everybody? Not all the 4 are correct. We can have 1, 3 and 4. Ideally, however, guys, to initiate MDT, we can also start MDT on the basis of patches as well as peripheral nerve thickening also as of now. Okay, we can start the treatment based on that also. We don't usually wait, but yeah, that is a necessary to take the lesion. But suppose the report is pending and we see these 2 findings, we can start. Which is the most common nerve involved, guys? Which is the most common nerve involved? I hope you remember ulnar nerve. Okay, all right. Now, who are these 2 beautiful girls? Who are these 2 pretty girls? Now, which one is, this is image A, which is image B? Which one is concerned with leprosy, image A or B? Just wanted to revise this. Which one is concerned with leprosy, image A or image B? So you all know image A over here is Meena, and leprosy may concerned is image B. She is Sapna. Sapna, like you can see, she is having a school bag, and she is used under the Sparsh initiative. All right, under the Sparsh initiative, what are we doing? We are using Sapna as a mascot to spread awareness. Actually, pata hai, Sapna was a cured case of leprosy. She was a cured case of leprosy, guys. Okay? And Meena was a successful concept child's right ke liye. She's flying like a parrot. We are not scolding her, nothing. We are not stopping her from anything. So she's flying. Like my daughter, if I don't say anything to her one day, she can do anything. So she will fly. So that's how you will remember Meena. I'm giving her all the rights. Enjoy your day. Okay. So Meena is with a parrot, child's right. And the concept was launched by UNICEF. And this one is Sapna. Okay. And also one more question. India is aiming for a leprosy mukt Bharat by 2027. We are aiming for a leprosy mukt Bharat. We are aiming for a leprosy mukt Bharat, guys, by 2027.